Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to this spring information session for the Master of Environmental Studies program here at the University of Pennsylvania. Thank you to those of you who have joined us live, and welcome to anyone who is watching this recording at a later date. Thank you to those of you who have been posting in the chat, letting us know a little bit about where you are coming from, and what you hope to do perhaps beyond graduate school. I'm enjoying reading some of those. I'm going to go through a short presentation here today, in talking a little bit about the program, and some information that might be relevant to you as you're considering our program for your graduate studies. I'll then leave plenty of time at the end if you have any questions, or things you would like to discuss, as part of this session. So again, thank you for introducing yourself in the chat. Hopefully you can see from the chat that we have a wide variety of people who are on this webinar and a wide variety of people interested in the MES program, coming from a variety of different backgrounds and hoping to do different things with the degree. You know, some hoping to go maybe into the climate space, some in the business space, thinking about sustainability and how we can improve things in the corporate world. Some interested in wildlife and animals, others interested, I see, in soils and wetlands, and it's really great to see this diversity. And I like to start these information sessions off with asking you to do that, to illustrate the wide range of students that come through our program, and the wide kind of range of places they go beyond our program and what they use our program for. So the MES program is 30 years old this year. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary. We actually have a fun anniversary and alumni event coming up next week. It started back in 1996 here at the University of Pennsylvania, and the picture on the slide here is our academic home. We're in the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences. That's the building that I'm in right now. And then administratively, we're part of the College of Liberal and Professional Studies. This means that we are a professional master's program. As I'll talk about a little bit later, some of our students do go on to a more academic career, but most people coming through our program are either already out in the workplace, somewhere in industry, or that is where they are hoping to go, and our program is geared to get you there. We currently have 154 active students in the program, plus a few others who are on a temporary leave or maybe studying abroad for the year. A mixture of full and part-time students. It's about 25-75% part-time, full-time at the moment. That fluctuates a little each year depending on who comes through the program. At the moment, we have about 60% international students. Again, that goes up and down. Some years it's closer to 50-50. The moment we have a few more international students in the program, which is fantastic. Again, adding to that diversity of thought and experience and culture that they are bringing into our classrooms. People always ask about the average class size, so I put that on here. It's typically around 18. Some of our required introductory classes, which I'll talk about a bit later, are larger than that, maybe closer to 40 students, 45 students. And some of our field courses are smaller than that. They max out at between 12 and 15. So there's a little bit of variation there, but most of our classes are somewhere around that 18 to 20 number. So a little introduction to who we are. My name is Siobhan Whadcoat, and I'm the program director for the Environmental Studies program here at Penn. We also run a sister program in Applied Geosciences, which is an online program that we run. And I run the program along with Eric Barada, who's our administrative director. And we are accompanied by a team of fantastic academic advisors, Sally, Mitch, Tony, Jack, and Joe, who are shown on this slide here. When you enter the MES program, you are assigned an academic advisor. They are your advisor throughout your time in the program, and they are there to help you with planning out your degree, thinking about what classes you might want to take, thinking about internship or job opportunities, talking to you about your ideas for your capstone, and many more things that they can help with. So you'll meet with your advisor at least once a semester, more if that's helpful for you. And all of these people teach in the program as well. So there are academic advisors, but they also have an area of expertise within the program that they teach on. Sally is an ecologist and teaches many of our field classes. Mitch is an expert in contaminated site remediation and teaches some courses on that. Tony is a hydrologist and teaches a lot of our water-based courses. He also has a lot of experience working internationally, so teaches a course on kind of global water resources and perspectives on that. Jack is a paleoclimatologist and teaches our summer climate course. And Joe is a former regional judge for the EPA and teaches classes on environmental law and environmental policy. So it's a bit of a flavour of the academic advisors that we have in the programme, along with myself. And beyond that, we have a wide range of faculty that teach in our program. These screenshots were just taken from our website, so you can go and click on these different images there and learn a bit more about the different people that teach in our program. Many of the people that teach in our program are industry professionals. They're experienced practitioners. We do have some standing faculty, some professors here at Penn that teach in the program. But as you can see from some of the titles listed here, many people also have a day job outside of teaching for us. So I do encourage you, if you haven't already, to go to the faculty page on our website, click through some of these images, learn a little bit about what people do and what expertise they're bringing into the program. I mentioned earlier that we are a professional program. We're focused on providing the skills and the knowledge that you need to get into the workplace in your desired profession. As such, we put on a range of professional development opportunities, and I'm going to talk about those in more detail later in this presentation. And we connect you with industry professionals and experienced practitioners throughout the program. This starts in the classroom with this range of industry practitioners pictured here that teach as part of our program. But it also happens through people that we might bring in as guest speakers, people that come and speak at our lunchtime seminar events, or others that come to the one-off events that we put on throughout the year, such as our upcoming alumni event next week. I think I already mentioned this, but a small number of students do also go on to a PhD. So although we're a professional program, we definitely can support you in that academic track if that's what you're interested in. I'm just going to pause here to say as we go through this presentation, please do drop questions either in the chat or in the Q&A function of this webinar. I'll look at those towards the end. If you have something that you really want to ask as I am going through, then please use the hand raise function and I'm fine with you unmuting and asking a question as we go through. Just a reminder, I'll save time at the end and feel free to drop questions into the Q&A box as we go through. So why might you want to come to Penn, and particularly Penn in Philadelphia? I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the connections we have across the Penn campus, and then I'll talk a little bit more about some of the connections we have in the wider city of Philadelphia related to environmental studies. So as a university, Penn puts a lot of emphasis on tackling environmental issues, sustainability, climate. Penn last year, or actually at the end of 2024, released their Climate and Sustainability Action Plan 4.0. I think one of the first universities to be on round 4 of those plans. And I do encourage you, if you're interested in coming here, to go and look at that plan. It's on the Penn Sustainability website. It really signals the values that Penn has and the work that they are putting into making sure that as a campus, we are addressing these very important issues. That means that for you potentially coming to Penn to an environmental studies program, that you're not only coming to our program, but you're coming to a university that really prioritizes dealing with environmental issues. And that's shown through the wide range of environmental centers and organizations that we have at Penn, some of which are listed on this slide here. So the Water Center focused on supporting particularly sustainability and equity of urban water resource systems, and they do a lot of applied research within the city of Philadelphia. Penn Sustainability Office focuses primarily on the campus's sustainability. So that's anything from carbon emissions to waste management to procurement and many other things that the campus touches. The Environmental Innovations Initiative has recently merged with Penn Climate, and their office looks at ways to bring together academics and offices and departments across the university to tackle environmental issues from an interdisciplinary perspective. The Climate Center for Energy Policy focuses on energy-related issues both at home and abroad and brings together a lot of policy experts into their research hub. We have the Penn Center for Science, Sustainability and the Media, which focuses really on the communication of science, scientific data, and particularly issues around climate. This center is run by Dr. Michael Mann, who sits within our department, Earth and Environmental Sciences, and also has a joint appointment in the Annenberg School for Communication. And so this center, as the name suggests, really does pull together the science and communication expertise of the university. There's also the Wharton ESG initiative, the climate leaders at Penn group that I didn't mention on here, and many other student groups that relate to environmental issues. So there's a lot to get involved with here at Penn if you're interested in that. And many of our students have interned with these organizations or done a summer fellowship with them or similar through their time here in the program. Expanding out a little bit to think about the wider city of Philadelphia as pictured here. I'd noticed in the chat that some of you are from this area, which is great. So you may be familiar with some of these organizations. For anyone who is not, our program has a lot of connections with the city and the surrounding area. The city of Philadelphia was recently designated with a high LEED status, showing the emphasis that they are putting into the sustainability and particularly the energy efficiency of their buildings. A lot of that comes out of the Philadelphia City Office of Sustainability's work, and we have many connections with them. A number of our alumni work for the City Office of Sustainability. Some of the people from that office actually teach in our program. And again, many of our students have interned with them or worked with them on their capstone project. We're also connected with the Water Department, EPA Region 3 headquarters that are here in Philly, some conservation trusts and research centers around the city, such as Willistown Conservation Trust and Stroud Water. The Sustainable Business Network of Philadelphia is another partner that we have that touches on a number of businesses and organizations within the city that are prioritizing sustainability. And we recently developed a connection with the Philadelphia School District. And one of our graduates from last year actually got a job with them and is helping them in their sort of facilities and planning and thinking again about how the school district and their buildings and facilities that they own can become more sustainable and more environmentally friendly. So again, a lot of connections out in the city and a lot of opportunities for you to get involved in the work being done in Philadelphia. So let's talk a little bit more about the MES degree itself. I'm sure some of this might be familiar to you if you've looked through our website, but I'm just going to briefly go through the degree, how it breaks down in terms of the different course requirements. So the MES degree is primarily a multidisciplinary approach to the study of the environment. We want to think about the environment and environmental issues from a lot of different perspectives. And that is built into the way our curriculum is designed. It is built into how our courses are run. And as I mentioned earlier, it is really enhanced by the diverse student body that we have. Within the program, you can select one of 6 concentrations to allow you to tailor the curriculum to meet your professional goals. And throughout the program, there is a focus on professional skills, in particular communication, teamwork, and data analytics. When we talk to our industry partners about the professional skills that they are looking for in new employees, these are the 3 top skills that come out time and time again. And so we've really tried to focus on those skills throughout the program, both in our required and elective courses. So the MES degree is comprised of 12 course units. Here at Penn, they're called CUs, and 1 capstone project. Most courses at Penn are 1 CU courses, so that means you need to take 12 courses to complete the degree. However, there are a few half CU courses floating around, so do watch out for those as you're going through. So our course units are broken down into 3 required courses and then 9 that will be tailored to your concentration, and I'll explain how that comes together. So we have an introductory course called Pro Seminar. This is a required intro course for everyone coming into the program. It's a broad overview of contemporary environmental issues and the innovative approaches that are being used to address them. We look at the science behind these issues, make sure everyone is up to speed on that. And then we look at different case study examples of how these issues are being addressed around the world. We bring a lot of guest speakers into this class so you can learn from the people that are doing this work day to day. And throughout the semester, you'll participate in a local project with others in the class tackling an environmental issue either here on campus or out within the city of Philadelphia. Our second required course is a capstone course. This is a prep course to help you develop your capstone research ideas and develop the skills that you will need to undertake the project. Throughout the course, you work on developing your capstone proposal that is then reviewed and approved by our program teams so that you can begin work on your capstone project following completion of that course. And then our other required course is a data analytics course. There's actually a range of different courses that you can choose from to fulfill this requirement, but we want you to gain expertise in an area of data analytics that's relevant to your goals. We want you to be able to look at, understand, and manage large data sets and analyze that data to draw defensible conclusions. And so we have a list of different courses that can be used to satisfy that requirement, and you can choose whichever one is most relevant to your professional goals and the skills that you want to develop. And then beyond that, the degree breaks down into 4 foundation courses and 5 concentration courses. The concentration courses are those within your chosen concentration. So let's say you choose environmental policy. You would take 5 courses related to environmental policy. These can be taken both within our program or outside of our program. So this is where perhaps you might take a course in the law school or the business school or the design school. Take advantage of the wide range of expertise here at Penn. And then you take 4 foundation courses. These are courses beyond your concentration within our department. We want you to develop a strong and broad foundation in environmental studies and be conversant in multiple environmental topics, not just that in your concentration. So sticking with our example of someone who has chosen an environmental policy concentration, these foundation courses might be in sustainability, environmental biology, resource management, resilience and adaptation, and so forth. And then on top of all of this, you will complete a capstone project. This is an original piece of work that you will work on primarily during the second half of your time in the program. The capstone course that I mentioned helps you develop your proposed project idea. You work with an identified capstone advisor or capstone reader to develop those ideas, and then you spend about 10 months working on this project. Many of our students, as the final product, produce a sort of traditional research or academic paper, but you're not restricted to that. We do have some students who have taken a more creative approach to the capstone course, some who maybe are interested in policy who have written a white paper. We recently had a student write a graphic novel for middle schoolers on climate change. She's now had it published in 2 different languages. We had someone last year make a video game related to sustainability issues. And we've had many other creative projects come through the program. So there's definitely some flexibility on the exact format of that project and what the end product looks like. Alongside the MES degree, we also have opportunities for dual degrees and certificates. So we have different dual degree options around Penn and one international option, and these are all detailed on the dual degree pages of our website. This allows you to earn a second graduate degree while studying in the Master of Environmental Studies program, and importantly, it reduces the course load for both programs if you take them as a dual degree. Taking, for example, the MES degree and the Master in Law, the ML degree. If you were to do those separately, the Master of Environmental Studies is a 12 CU program, and the Master in Law is an 8 CU program. However, we can count 3 of their courses towards our degree. They count 2 of our courses towards their degree. And it takes the overall course load down from 20 to 15 courses. So you can see how you can then achieve both degrees with fewer courses and in a shorter amount of time. Some of these dual degrees do require you to apply to both programs before coming to Penn, but for many of them, you could apply to us, come and start in our program, and then apply to the other degree once you are here. If you have a particular interest in any of those options, I'm happy to talk further with you about that. And I would also encourage you to reach out to the other program to discuss the particulars of their degree too. Like I said, there are 9 on-campus options and 1 international option with Paris Mines Tech, a university in Paris in France. And perhaps you don't want to do a full dual degree, but you're interested in adding a certificate to your MES degree. There are a number of graduate certificates around the university. These are typically 4 or 5 course certificates, and we can double count 2 of the courses towards your degree. This means you're only taking an additional 2 or 3 classes, and you earn a certificate alongside your MES degree. Some of the ones that are most popular with our students are the certificate in law, the certificate in energy management and policy, a certificate in ecological planning, and then 2 options for applied geosciences certificates that are taught through our sister program in applied geosciences, one in engineering geology and one in environmental hydrogeology. And so if you're interested in any of those, you could talk to your advisor in the first semester in the program about adding one of those to your career here at Penn. So as a professional program, we try and provide a lot of opportunities for professional development as you make your way through the degree. Some examples of those within our program, we have an annual professional development day in the fall semester, an alumni event in the spring semester. We typically go to the All Ivy Sustainability Career Fair, which normally happens around this time of year at Columbia University. This year it was cancelled, but Penn have put on their own STEM and Sustainability Career Fair, which is actually happening tomorrow. So many of our students are attending that. And we have an annual graduate research conference at the end of the spring semester where our graduating students present their capstone research in a large poster session. We have keynote speakers and other fun items at that event, and a number of local industry partners and on-campus organizations come to that event as well. So it's a great networking opportunity. Around the university, many departments have weekly seminars, and there are also special conferences or events that are put on. We have Climate Week in the fall, Energy Week, and Earth Week also in the spring. Within the program, we do have a small amount of funds that students can apply to if you would like to attend conferences off campus. And we can always give some funding if you are presenting at a conference. And we can usually also give some funding for those who just want to attend. We have some certifications that we offer through our program. At the moment, we offer the Lead Green Associates training and the LCA Lifecycle Assessments training. These are offered at a significantly reduced cost, subsidized by our program. And then I think I mentioned earlier, there are a number of student clubs and societies that you can join, both here at Penn, but there are also a number of professional societies that you can join as a student member at a much reduced cost. And so we do encourage you to take advantage of those related to the particular field that you're interested in. Within our program, we don't have a requirement for a research or an internship, but we do strongly encourage this. And there are many opportunities available both on and off campus through the program. We don't have a specific kind of partnership track where we partner you with an internship placement, but we do support you as best we can via our connections in the city, our strong alumni network. We have over 700 program alumni that are happy to connect with current students. And through weekly advertisements, we send out a weekly newsletter that advertises research and internship opportunities that we know of, both on and off campus. Penn has a really fantastic career services, and they do have a careers team dedicated to graduate students and even dedicated to master's students. They put on a lot of events, such as the STEM and Sustainability Career Fair happening tomorrow. And I really encourage students to connect with the Penn Career Services in their first semester in the program. If you do undertake some kind of research or internship opportunity, there's also the opportunity to connect this to your capstone, and we're happy to talk about that. If there are any international students on the call or watching this recording, a few notes for you. All of our concentrations are STEM designated. This means that if you want to do any off-campus work, such as an internship, we offer curricular practical training. You have to do 2 full-time semesters in the program with us, but after that, we can support you to work off-campus via CPT. And then for paid post-work, post-graduation, there is OPT, optional practical training. Anyone who undertakes graduate studies in the US gets a year of that, but because we are STEM designated, there's the option to extend for a further 2 years for a total of 3 years OPT. A few notes on the community that you would be joining here in MES. We are a fairly large program. As I said, we currently have over 150 active students in the program. We are academically embedded in the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences and also part of the College of Liberal and Professional Studies. And there are opportunities to really embed yourself in the community at all three levels. And within the program, we have monthly coffee hours. That's something pictured in the top right there. In fact, we have one this afternoon that involves our program, and we do invite other graduate students from the wider department. We have a monthly brown bag event. This might be an online webinar or an in-person lunchtime event where students get together and we bring outside speakers in. And the department also has a Wednesday lunchtime seminar series. At the LPS level, we have something called LPS Gov. This is the student government for LPS. And there are many other clubs to join on campus. And there's always the opportunity to set up your own group or club. We actually had a group of students last year set up a club called Wastewise at Penn, focused on tackling waste issues around the university. They're working with Penn sustainability and have really taken great strides in making some positive changes to waste at Penn. Okay, a few more kind of just logistical slides before we wrap up here. If you are thinking of applying to the MES program, which I really hope you will do, then the application details are all available on our website. You go to our website and go to the application page. You will hear within 3 weeks of the deadline if you've been invited to interview. So we review applications. Anyone who we're interested in making an offer to, we invite to interview. The interviews are virtual with one of our program team. And so you'll hear within 3 weeks if you've been invited to that interview. And after the interview, you'll receive the final decision within 1 or 2 weeks maximum. So just a reminder of the upcoming deadlines. If you want to apply to join us this fall, the deadline is April 1st. And if you want to apply to join us in spring 2027, the deadline for international students is October 1st, and for anyone else is November 1st. The earlier deadline there for international students is just to allow enough time to get your visa. So I will open it up to questions now. I see there are some that have come through in the Q&A, which is great. So I'll open that up in just a moment here. But if you have questions after the session today, please reach out to us. There is our program email address. So if you want to contact one of our team, both myself and Eric, our administrative director, monitor that inbox. If you have broader questions, particularly anything related to the application itself, please contact the MES info page. We also host a monthly drop-in session on the first Tuesday of every month. That is run by Sally Willick, one of our academic advisors, and there's always a current student on that call as well. So feel free to drop into that first Tuesday of every month. You can get the link from the bottom of our webpage, and you can follow us on social media and see the types of things that our students are up to throughout the year. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen there and go back to the webinar and pull up the Q&A here. I'm going to start going through these questions, but if you do have another question or you want to ask your question live, just raise your hand and I will allow you to unmute. Okay, so are there online options for those who can't afford to live on campus? Our program is an in-person program. This means that you need to take the majority of courses in person. Some of our courses are offered online. We have 1 or 2, and there might be courses elsewhere in the university that are also online. But at a max, you could only take 6 of your courses online. The other would have to be in person. That being said, our courses are designed to accommodate working professionals. This means that all of our classes meet in the evening from 5:15 till 8 o'clock, and they meet once a week. So even if you do have to travel into campus, depending on how many classes you're taking per semester, you would only be coming in once a week for each class you're taking. So we do have people in the program that do a short-ish commute. I see this question was asked by someone who's about 50 miles away, so it would be a journey, but we've definitely had students do that before. We have someone who commutes up from kind of northern Maryland, and they just take one course at a time, so they're just coming up once a week. So there is the option there. Which organization is the LCA certification granted by? That is a fantastic question, and I cannot remember off the top of my head. Please send me an email to that SAS email address, and I will get back to you on that because I can't remember off the top of my head now. But yeah, please send me an email and I can send you the details of that. Do the certificates have online options? Yes. So the Applied Geosciences certificates are actually fully online, and they are full course certificates, and you can apply 2 of the courses towards your MES degree. There are specific examples of the concentration class listed online. Is more available about the courses that satisfy the data analytics requirement? Yes, we're in the process of updating our website. The data analytics requirement is actually something new that we added this past year. And so I'm hoping that we will get that data on our website in the next few weeks. Again, if you'd like, please send an email to that SAS email address, and I can reply with a list of the courses that currently satisfy our data analytics requirement. Just as an example, at the moment we have GIS courses in there, a course on mapping for environmental justice, a fundamentals of data course which introduces students to Python and applications for environmental studies, a course on data analytics for public policy, a remote sensing course, and I might be forgetting some, but those are some of the examples that I can just sort of think of off the top of my head. But if you want to send me an email, I'll happily reply to you with the full list, and the website should be updated in the next few weeks. I apologize for that being a little bit out of date. Okay. Next question. What types of awards are available to support students financially? Are teaching assistantships available? Yeah, so as a program, we don't offer any kind of large financial aid packages. However, we do have the option for students to serve as TAs in the undergraduate program here, and in some of our courses, depending on your background. We try to offer those opportunities to the wider range of students that we can. And so we can't guarantee that you would get a TA appointment every semester during your time in the program, but you can certainly apply. And if you are awarded one of those, then it's $4,000 a semester to work as a TA. I will say many of our students also find other opportunities on campus, such as maybe working as a research assistant for someone, doing one of the fellowships through one of the offices at Penn, which typically are paid fellowships, or finding work out in the city. Okay. The next question was also, how do most students finance their education? Is there a breakdown between various financing options? How much do the studies cost? Okay, so a lot of our students do rely on subsidized federal student loans. I recognize there are changes to the federal loan regulations coming in on July 1st of this year. And there are some updated web pages from Penn's Office of Student Financial Services that break down what those changes mean in terms of what you can borrow, and that also discuss some alternative private loan options that Penn has managed to secure and details on the rates of those. Those web pages, you can find them if you look at Penn Student Financial Services. They're also linked out from our own website as well. So some people use federal loans. Some people use tuition benefits from their employers. So a lot of our part-time students work for an employer that provides tuition benefits, and they finance the program that way. And like I said, some people, maybe they're paying the tuition through federal loans or something, but then their living costs, they're working to fund that. For a breakdown of the costs, you can go to our website and there's a tab called Tuition and Fees. Scroll down to that table and it shows you the cost per semester depending on how many courses you take each semester. So the cost is broken down per course unit and the fees are scaled accordingly. So if you know you want to go through the program, let's say full-time, taking 3 or 4 courses a semester, you can look at those lines in the table. If you know you're going to go through part-time, maybe taking just 1 or 2 courses at a time, then we have that breakdown as well. So I encourage you to go and look at that part of our website. Okay, are there apprenticeships available at New Bolton? We don't have any formal apprenticeships. However, we did develop a partnership with the Wildlife Futures program last year, which is through Penn Vet, and they are based out at the New Bolton Centre. For anyone who doesn't know, New Bolton is a large farm and kind of vet school that is off campus here that is run by the Penn Veterinary School. And so we did have 5 students last year do their capstone research with the Wildlife Futures program at New Bolton. We did have a student work for New Bolton as well as a paid intern last year. That was something they got on their own. Penn Vet had advertised the opportunity. We put it in our weekly newsletter. They saw it and got it. So we don't have any apprenticeships that are specific to our program, but students have definitely worked there in the past. Okay, right. Those are all of the questions that I could see in the Q&A. I'm just checking the chat here. But if anyone else has a question, please, like I said, feel free to raise your hand or throw something in the Q&A box, and I will be happy to answer that. Well, thank you so much to everyone for coming today. Thank you for your comments in the chat, and thank you for your wonderful and engaging questions. I will stay on this webinar for a few more minutes. If anyone wants to ask anything else or kind of chat for a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So I'm happy to have any kind of informal conversation that you would like to have. If not, please also do reach out to our team. I'm going to throw the our email address in the chat just so that you have it. One more time, we're happy to answer any questions, particularly those of you for whom I couldn't answer your specific webinar questions. Please do send me an email and I'll get you those details. We really hope to see your application soon. And look forward to maybe welcoming you to Penn and to the program one day. Okay, take care, everyone. Thanks so much.